Vanakkam and welcome. I am very delighted to be among you. We are thrilled by the great response in this hall. In 1989, an educator, a thinker and a writer and a trainer by name Stephen R. Covey brought out a book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Over 15 million copies have been sold in the last several years. And this book is what Valluvam tells us in succinct manner, Navildorum Nulnayam. Every time you read, you find something. And Covey tells us, please do not think it as a text. Keep it as a companion, that you can keep going back to it and feel some kind of an endorsement for your own activities or a direction to how you plan to bring about change in your own lifestyle. Such is the power of the book. It has a subtitle, Powerful Lessons in Personal Change. And also it has another subtitle, Restoring the Character Ethic in Our Life. And I want to briefly trace 50 pages of the first part of the book before the habits are properly defined and explained. I'm going to take 20 minutes to kind of sum up 50 pages of the first part of the book. Covey begins by asking a very interesting question. All of you have been very successful in material terms in life, but have you always felt very satisfied and happy? And the question he asks, have you had an aha experience? The Tamil audience will say, Ayyo experience the minjirku. It's very interesting. The aha experience. And he quotes a number of people, key professionals who said, I'm so big, I'm this, I'm that, but I'm not very happy. So the first question, life is an aha experience. Do you feel it? In another book of the same title, meant for families, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families, Covey asks differently. Tagore mentions in the Gitanjali, the song I came to sing remains unsung. I have stringed and unstringed my instruments, but the music is not it. Quoting Rabindranath Tagore, Covey asks, how many of us have heard the music of our life? Which is why the aha experience continues to be elusive. So then he proceeds a little further to tell us, it's all because of our perception. Perception of what we see and how we see. Sometimes there may be the wrong lens, which may need Aravind Eye Care system for refractory correction. But Covey goes on to explain, in management literature, leadership literature of about 200 years, the focus was on character ethics. Nanneri, Sangam literature or pre-Sangam literature, all of them do convey to us about that. And in Indian literature itself is very rich in it. And Stephen Covey asks us, what happened then to this character ethic? Says, after Second World War, somehow this character ethic got undermined, and what emerged was the personality ethic, which also included cult worship. larger than life-size projection, Hollywood, commercial, sports, second-rate politics. So what happened, instead of the character ethic, it came about that personality ethic. People felt, well, you may have a quick fix solution, a band-aid solution for every suitable moment or required moment. Acquired skills for required situations. How to stop worrying and start thinking. And one fellow said, you stop reading the book, you will be always more happy. So, people of my times of the 70s used to, Norman Vincent Peale or Napoleon Hill, or for that matter Dale Carnegie, wherein you came across several skills being told. Stephen Covey says, fine, all that is fine, but personality is secondary, character is primary. That's it. Restoring the character ethic. That must be the reversing of the paradigm shift that took place after the Second World War. And that's when he explains to us as to what a paradigm is and what's the shift required. The paradigm first was character ethic, and now it is personality ethic. Personality, we don't say is bad, but it is secondary, the primary is character. Going a step further, Stephen Covey tells us, let's reverse this paradigm. And you need to perceive things properly. கண்ணோட்டம் எனும் கழிவெறும் காரிகை உண்மையார் உண்டு இவ்வுலகு. அழகாக பார்க்கும் அன்பான குணம் இருப்பதனால் உலகம் இயங்குகிறது. Every time you read Stephen Covey, quite a lot of our own literature and subtle things come to our mind, flood our mind. So the paradigm shift he speaks of is, instead of looking at the world, instead of looking at us from outside to inside, why not you look from inside to outside? This is the paradigm he calls inside-out paradigm. So bring about the change within and enforce upon yourself this strong character ethic, then you would be able to do better. Which is why he says, if you work on the foundations of this character ethic, then your life will be evolutionary and the net effect will be revolutionary. Let me repeat, he says, I am quoting, that your life will be evolutionary and the net effect will be revolutionary. Which is why I would like to make the point, life is not a fixed standard, nor is success a fixed standard. It is a process of evolution. Have you made that paradigm shift? Is the reminder to us. Life is inside out and not outside in is the paradigm shift. Good. Then there are two things that need explanation, and with that I am through. And the title contains the two words, habit and effectiveness. What are habits and what do you mean by effectiveness? Stephen Covey says there are these tricycles of our life. Number one is the knowledge. You know what to do. Number two is the skill that you acquire or you apply on the basis of the knowledge that someone. And that's how to do. And the third, you have the knowledge, you have the skill, you must have the desire to do something. Which means, why should I do it? At the intersection of these three rings, tricycles, is the habit, according to Stephen Covey. My habit is a composite of my knowledge, my skill, and my desire. I know what I want to do, I know how I should do, but I refuse to do. This can happen to many people who want to be in the comfort zone. So he adds this third dimension and tells us, habit is what you find at the intersection of the three rings. And I hope that explains what, according to Stephen Covey, is a habit. And there are 7 habits. Why this number 7? 7 deadly sins. Height of happiness is 7th heaven. And there are several other aspects to number 7. And the book has only 4 parts. The first part I am explaining now. And the second part is called Private Victory, 3 habits. And the third part is Public Victory, 3 habits. And the fourth part is the 7th habit, self-renewal. And each of these subjects is to be handled by the 7 speakers who follow me. But the last important point that remains to be conveyed to you is, what is effectiveness? Who are the effective people? And Stephen Covey comes with a small formula, and the formula is called P bar PC balance. And he explains it with a story. A farmer was lucky enough to get a goose. And he was very lucky because every day it lay a golden egg. So the production of the goose was a golden egg. Now it made the farmer very rich. With richness, greed and wickedness set in. And he wanted to enjoy the fruits all at one go, and he ripped open to locate more of the golden eggs and found none. He lost not only the asset but also the capacity. Production bar production capability. It's not enough that I wash my car or clean my premises on an Ayudha Puja day. If I want a vehicle or an equipment to be used in an optimum manner, and I'll give you the simple example of the stapler, an unfortunate victim in everybody's hands. And a very standard stapler will be able to staple 1 million times effectively, meaning 10 lakh times, and there won't be any hitch. But you buy the one for 10 rupees somewhere on the bazaar, and the third time it all gets stuck and your paper is also gone. Because it's poorly made, or so many people who use this very good stapler or who misuse it do not know how to maintain the gadget. So Stephen Covey says, effective people are able to make this balance between the asset and the capacity. These are the effective people. If we have understood, then it's over. According to Stephen Covey, life is a composite of private victory and public victory. First 3 habits of private victory. Be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first. And the other 3 habits of public victory, think win-win, seek first to understand and then be understood, and the 6th is synergize. And the 7th that encompasses all the 6 is sharpen the saw. If I want to cut the tree for 1 hour, I will saw it sharpen the saw for 23 hours, so that the wood is cut. So such is the overall view that Stephen Covey presents us. But then there's one great point that I need to mention. In passing, Stephen Covey makes some very interesting remarks. One question: are you in the thick of thin things? அல்ப விஷயத்தில் ரொம்ப நேரம் உட்கார்ந்து வெட்டி வேலை பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கு. Are you in the thick of thin things? Then you are more reactive. You don't ever begin at all. You don't know to put. You are putting the last thing first. Are you in the thick of thin things? And the other one, do you have abundance mentality? தாராள மனப்பான்மை. Two things that he asks as he works with this, and sums it up beautifully in the first 50 pages. Life is a maturity continuum. You move from dependence to independence, and then stabilize on interdependence. In all interdependent situations, competition is not the hallmark but cooperation. And he explains all that in the second part, which is why the interlude between the private victory and the public victory is called emotional bank account. Deposit, develop goodwill so that life can be enjoyed better. Summing up the first part of the presentation, the prelude, Stephen Covey quotes from an American poet, T.S. Eliot, and it's very interesting. We must not cease from exploration. Today and tomorrow we are commemorating this great man who died on July 16 at 79. Unfortunately, he fell from bicycle and wouldn't recover thereafter. But as we pay tribute to this rich-minded personality, whose family raised 9 children, and he and his wife do represent as to how a family could be the nerve center of every society. So here is a person who is a great role model, both in family life and in professional life. And he says, quoting from T.S. Eliot, we must not cease from exploration. வேட்கை, தேடுதல், நாட்டம். We must not cease from exploration. And the end of all our exploring, அப்படி தேடி போனோம்னா அந்த வேட்கை, நாட்டம், தேடலின் முடிவில், and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we began. கடைசியில் இதுதான் ஆகும். முதல்ல இருந்து அதுதான் நமக்கு தான் கடைசியா பிடிபடும். அதனால தான் நல்லா சொல்றோம், I see. And that's the discovery channel within us. That's the eureka moment within us. In organizing these lectures, ladies and gentlemen, we kept in mind this. And remember Stephen Covey, we must not cease from exploration. And the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we began and know the place for the first time. தெரியாத விடை X என்று வைத்துக் கொள்க, வைக்க மாட்டேன் அப்படிமா ஒருத்தன். That's how you derive downwards to an answer and know it for the first time. We invite you to listen to the 7 speakers and are very confident you will be able to take back rich memories of this program. Thank you and good evening.